Today we leave Barcelona to visit a place where the industrial and social history of Catalonia meets the modernist genius of Antoni Gaudí. You will discover a unique social experiment and a church declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome to the channel. We are leaving Barcelona again for a very simple half-day trip, ideal for anyone interested in art, architecture and history who wants to see a work of Antoni Gaudí, recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2005. In the video we will see how to get to the Colònia Güell, how to buy a ticket, its history, what is the visit like and where you can have lunch. Colònia Güell is located in the town of Santa Coloma de Cervelló in the metropolitan area of Barcelona, 20 kilometers from the center of the city. We recommend you take a train of the FGC company, lines S3, S4, S8 or S9, any of them will do, departing from Plaza de España station, which will take you to Colònia Güell in 25 minutes. Let's see the details. We entered the Plaza de España FGC station and went to the machines to buy tickets. On the initial screen, change the language to English. We choose FGC single ticket. We have chosen FGC single ticket one journey. We are only going to buy the single ticket to go. But if you want to buy also a round trip ticket, choose now FGC single ticket 2 journeys. We tap on other FGC stations and touch on Colònia Güell. As there are 2 of us, we select that we want to buy 2 tickets. The amount indicated corresponds to the 2 one-way tickets. And now we only have to pay by card or cash. Look on the station screens for the platform from which your train will depart, remembering that lines S3, 4, 8 and 9 are good for us. Enter your ticket to access the platforms and get on the train. As Plaza de España station is the first station on the line, don't worry, you won't get into a train going in the wrong direction. It's a short ride, but as always, take the opportunity to admire the scenery. When you get to Colònia Güell station, go up the ramp to exit the station. When you leave the station building, turn left and turn left again to enter the road leading downhill. Steps painted on the pavement show the way. Several signs also indicate where you should continue. Walk along a beautiful tree-lined path until you reach the heart of the colony. You will now see on the screen that 10-minute walk from the station to Colònia Güell. You will need a ticket to visit the colony. We recommend you to buy it on the website of Visit Barcelona, which is the official tourism website of Barcelona, as we are showing you now on the screen. It is one of our trusted partners, and every time you buy a ticket from them, following our link, we get a small commission without the price changing for you. You can buy just the ticket or the ticket and the train ticket. This second combination does not involve any monetary advantage, so we only bought the ticket, paying for it out of our pocket. The ticket includes the ticket to visit the Interpretation Center, the ticket to visit the Gaudí crypt, an audio guide and a map. Let's talk a little history. In the middle of the 19th century, Barcelona, still within the limits of what is today the historic center, was experiencing a period of industrial splendor, especially in the textile sector. At the beginning of the century, there were already 150 textile factories in Barcelona. Their chimneys and columns of smoke dominated the Barcelona skyline. As the industry grew, so did labor unrest, with numerous protests and an increasingly strong workers' movement. Enter Eusebi Güell, businessman and politician known today, among other things, for having been Antoni Gaudí's greatest patron. In his time, Güell was one of the richest people in the world. In the context of growing protests and unrest in Barcelona in the late 19th century and early 20th centuries, Güell decided to move one of his textile companies from Barcelona to a plot of land he owned near the city. In 1890, the Colònia Güell was founded. In Colònia Güell, he built a factory with the most modern machinery of the time, But the project was much more than that. To ensure social peace, the colony had housing and cultural, educational and religious facilities for its workers. In addition to the factory, there was a hospital, a theater, and several stores. Gaudí and his collaborators participated in the design of the colony. Gaudí himself devoted entirely to the design of the church, which we will discuss later. The Colònia factory closed in 1973, and the buildings were sold to different owners over time. Let's go back to the map to see how to organize your visit to Colònia Güell. The first place to go is the Interpretation Center. Then you will walk to the Gaudí crypt to visit it. And finally, you will walk around Colònia Güell to see the highlights. Maps scattered throughout the colony make orientation easier, and you can also use the small map you will receive. The Interpretation Center should be your first visit for two reasons. On the one hand, because here you will exchange your voucher for the tickets and pick up your audio guide. On the other hand, at the center you will find all the information you need to be able to make the most of the visit that follows. The content of the center is structured around two different themes. One is the history of the Colònia Güell and the historical context in which it arose. This is very interesting information for anyone interested in the past. The other theme is addressed on the upper floor, dedicated to the colony's church, a project commissioned by Güell to his protégé Gaudí. The architect worked on the church from 1908, but when he abandoned the project, he had only finished the lower nave of the church. When Eusebi Güell died in 1918, his successors abandoned the project. In the Interpretation Center, you can see how Gaudí experimented in the Colònia Güell with architectural solutions that he would later use in the Sagrada Familia. The crypt of the Colònia became a test bench for the Great Temple. A beautiful model of the temple will help you understand what the church would have looked like if the project had been completed. Once you have finished visiting the Interpretation Center, you will walk the short distance to what is known as the Gaudí crypt, which, as we already know, is nothing more than the lower part of the unfinished project of the Colònia church. In recognition of Gaudí's exceptional creative contribution to the development of architecture and building technology, UNESCO added the crypt to the World Heritage List in 2005. Both outside and inside the crypt, you will notice the exceptional mastery of the applied arts by Gaudí and his collaborators. This is evident in the furnishings, the windows, the stained glass, and the mosaics, all of which are of great beauty, and in the use of different materials such as basalt stones, bricks, foundry debris, ceramics, and glass. Once you have visited the crypt, you will stroll around Colònia Güell and discover the most important buildings from the outside. The map you will receive contains a proposal for an itinerary around the colony. The buildings include former cooperatives, the health center, the teacher's house, the school, the doctor's house, and many private houses. Most of the buildings were built by Gaudí's collaborators. The use of exposed brick, typically Catalan, is one of the most striking elements of the buildings you will see. Two tips for eating in the colony itself. One is the Sport Bar and the other the Galisteo restaurant, which is next to the entrance of the Colònia and where we ate an inexpensive and tasty set menu. After lunch, we took the train back to Barcelona. Colònia Güell is a very easy and pleasant half-day trip. You'll explore a place with an inland village flavor and learn about the history that led to the creation of the colony. And as an added bonus, you will visit a Gaudí World Heritage Site. As you know, if you have any questions about the Colònia Güell, take advantage of the commentary box to ask. Now you will see on the screen the list of videos we have already published on the channel dedicated to Barcelona, even more resources to help you plan the perfect trip to the Catalan capital. We look forward to seeing you in those videos.